Okay, my clothes review. I was happy with the clothes I brought, but I am looking to reduce my weight more. These are all my clothes I unpacked from my trip. They're all dirty now. I haven't washed them yet. Just want to go through everything. I use my ex officio pants. They're the non zippered version. You can't make them into shorts. I prefer that because I find the zippered version, the zipper part kind of cuts into my leg a little bit. They have nice breathable mesh around. They're very lightweight, very comfortable. My only complaint about them is when it's hotter. You are a little bit hotter in these than shorts. And going uphill or anywhere you have to step your feet or your legs up high, the pants right in here do decrease your range of motion a little bit, which can get annoying. Also, with like going to the bathroom, take them off and on. The belt is okay, but it's not as easy as something like elastic where you can pull up and down really quick. The weight of these, let's see. I don't know if I can get them all on the scale right. Yeah, it's not working. I'll weigh my clothes later. This is a Columbia Insect blocker shirt. As you can see, very dirty. But I think this kind of design hides the dessert. I mean, not dessert. The dirt pretty well. The pattern, and it's also really light colored, so it didn't attract heat, which I really like. I was very, very happy with this shirt. My number one complaint of it is a synthetic shirt, and synthetic shirts do absorb odor. I found my actual skin, my armpits, didn't stink at all during this trip with the tea tree oil, essential oil deodorant I used. But this shirt and the armpits got a little rank, especially on the fourth day I was noticing it. I did put lemongrass essential oil just directly on the armpits of this shirt, and it helped tremendously. But one thing I discovered with the lemongrass oil is it really stings if it gets on your armpit. And at one time I put too much oil on the armpit and actually got to my armpit and it was stinging quite a bit. So I think I'm going to just switch to tea oil completely for my deodorant and yeah, because it works really well. It also works really, really well to repel mosquitoes, and I'll talk about that later. My Patagonia Silk Wake pajamas worked great. I keep calling my rain gear Dry Ducks, but it's actually Frog Togs, but I think they're the same company or parent companies. They have been known not to be very durable, but they're really cheap. I paid less than $20 for this complete rain suit. They're very, very comfortable. It didn't rain at all this weekend, but I found myself wearing the pants quite a bit, especially when I was wearing my shorts. I just put them over it in the morning before I got going, just to warm up my legs a little bit. If I was going through any damp brush, I put these on, especially when I was wearing my shorts, and for a little bit extra protection. When I was sitting in dirt in the campsite, I put those on just to protect my clothes a little bit. And I also slept in them one night to keep my legs warmer. Actually 2 nights. They held up pretty well, but as I'm focusing on here, these are not tight at all. I never felt they were constricting me, but the seam here is ripping. I could duct tape them, but that will add to the weight and won't be very attractive. My husband was joking that I looked like I had a hazmat suit when I was wearing this because it's so baggy. But it was really comfortable, and it's not noisy at all. So I'm relatively happy with it. Also, you can see it's a bit darker right here, and that comes from just wiping my hands, which were oily from putting on ointments and oils and that kind of stuff, and wiped them on my pants, and they absorb oil quite easy. I've talked about these Defeat wool socks. These are definitely going to be my go-to hiking socks as long as it's not in freezing conditions. So if I'm in snow, I'll switch to the Darn Tough, but these were perfect for me. I have zero complaints about them at all. These Merrell shorts, I really like them, but I'm not sure if they're worth the extra weight. Most of the time in Oregon, we're hiking in the moister areas with lots of brush, and these shorts wouldn't protect me enough. But when we did the PCT section of our hike this weekend, the PCT sections are drier in Oregon. There wasn't a lot of brush. The trails were really well maintained, so I didn't need that leg protection. But it did have quite a bit of ups and downs, and I felt like I could much easier move my legs. And it has a nice elastic top, which is really easy to pull up and down. I really like these shorts. I also swam in them one day. It worked great, and then I just kept on hiking with them on while they were wet, and they dried really quickly. So I really like those. I just will have to decide how often I use them. This was my bra and underwear. I only needed one pair, but I brought two of each. These wash and dry so quickly. When I went swimming in these, and I felt like I was wearing a real bathing suit. You couldn't see through it at all. We were swimming in remote places where we never saw people. But if some people were to come up to us, I would have felt like I didn't need to cover up. I just took these off after swimming and put on my rain gear, and it took about 2 hours to dry. And then I also felt like they were nice and clean, or relatively clean, and they're very, very comfortable. These are the Ex Officio bra and underwear. My hats. This is the hat I used, Head Sweats. Really, really like this hat. I wore it all the time, except for in the morning and at night while I was sleeping. In the morning I wore my buff hat, but I plan to switch to this Z-Pax fleece hat instead. I'll talk about that in a second. It really kept sweat and my hair from flying around in my face. It's really, really light. It has this nice clip where I could clip it to my belt or whatever when I wasn't wearing it. I found out that this also works as if I'm using my SteriPen. This part works well as a pre-filter for sediment. I was just really happy with it. The only thing is the white looks a little weird in pictures. It's bright white and it reflects quite a bit. This buff, I liked it, but I think I'm not going to take it from now on. I'm going to keep it more for winter use when I want to cover my nose and mouth from cold, windy conditions. I got this after I got back for my backpacking trip. I ordered it before I went, but I just didn't get it to now. I've tried on this hat. It's very light, very, very comfy. It's perfect. It is large enough that I can pull it down and it'll also cover my eyes. I'm very light sensitive. I always have been, and this, if there was a bright moon out keeping me awake, I could easily pull that down and have a nice comfy eye mask. Also, my Zebra Light clips very, very nicely to it. It's very, very secure. I think I'm going to dump my Zebra Light though in exchange for a lighter light if I switch out my SteriPen. I talked about I bring this with my SteriPen because I use the same batteries, so it's kind of like carrying a spare battery. But it is pretty heavy. Here, let me weigh it for you guys. So this is with a battery in it, 1.75 ounces. And this is the light. I'm going to switch to what my husband was using. This is the same one Mike Cleland uses. It's a great little light, 0.8 ounces, much lighter. It's very efficient. The thing is with the Zebra Light, it is so strong. It's really nice if you really need a lot of light, but I usually don't need a lot of light. But if I was going without my husband or in a national park where I couldn't bring my dog for some extra protection, or if there was an area with bear or cougar problems, this would be really nice to bring. It's amazing how illuminating it is. It's super bright. This one, though, is more than adequate for most of what we do. In the winter, I'm going to do bringing my SteriPen because it, as far as I know, freezing conditions don't alter it much. And this in the winter will be great because there's less light hours and it'll last longer, I think, than this one. This is what the ultralight light comes in this really lightweight carrying case, and it also has the strap you can use that I cut it off of, but you use this little whistle to clip it and secure it. It's quite nice, but I won't be bringing that. I'm going to try, like my Cleland suggests, sewing this little light to the hat, or I'm going to try to do something that's a little less permanent. Probably not Velcro, but something, because I don't think I'll like sleeping with that on my head, and I want to be able to switch out to my Zebra Light when I want to. So, but I'm going to try to figure out a way to secure this that's not very permanent. My mosquito head net. I was using that as a water filter, as Mike Cleland suggested. I found my buff worked much better, and also my hat worked better. It's pretty heavy. It is, what brand is it? It's the lightest one I think there is out there. It's a Ceta Summit, but it's quite heavy, and I found it not very useful. I'm only going to bring it from now on if it's high mosquito time. Let me see if I can weigh it. No, I can't get it to stay on the scale completely, but let me see. Okay, I'm not sure if everything's on it, but this says 0.65 ounces, but yeah, I can get rid of this. Okay, I'll talk about another subject in a little bit.